Alright, guys. We got a banger of a series here, straight out of the recent Gamers8 tournament. Down here in the bottom right, representing Basilisk, it's REYNOR, the Italian stallion, the spaghetti boy, an absolute beast of the game. He's been looking pretty unstoppable recently in ZvP, especially in Sweden. He looked like he couldn't be touched. In the top left, though, we've got Classic. Classic is a very different breed, though, to the players like Hero that REYNOR has been pretty good at shutting down recently. Classic has a very fascinating style. He's very defensively oriented, but he really plays his own style of StarCraft, and he's very capable of many different ways of playing, and recently has been making a very big, I think, argument for him being the best Protoss player in the world. He's been looking really solid. I do worry about how he's going to get past like a Maru or a Kua, the best kind of TVP guys beyond as well, all very scary in TVP. But I think PvZ, he's looking great. PvT, he's looking to be one of the best. Defensively, I think a little bit better than Creator these days, in my opinion. PvP, I actually don't know. I haven't seen too much of Classic versus Hero, Classic versus Max. Those are, in my mind, the two best PvP players, far and ahead of everyone else in the world. So you've really got to be able to take them down consistently to be the PvP champ. Nexus does go down behind this, and he's just mineral harassing. REYNOR's done a good job of counter micro, though, not really taking any big losses there. And interestingly, only 2 workers on gas to start, so REYNOR is not rushing his gas mining. A lot of players, when they take that exposed third, they immediately put 3 workers on gas, but REYNOR being a bit more mineral focused, just wants to get out his queens, his slow zerglings, his drones. Classic being nice and annoying right now. That probe is being a right D-bag. Does finally stop mining for a moment as he's busy building the cyber core, second gas, and then second pylon behind it. And the probe goes back to disrupting. Spawning pool's finished, queens and lings will be out, so Classic's going to back off for now. This is an interesting matchup because eventually REYNOR always does the same thing in this matchup. Now, I actually said this in the green room over at Gamers8, and Roddy was like, no, REYNOR has heaps of builds. What are you talking about? Because obviously REYNOR is very offended. For those who don't, Roddy was very offended. For those who don't know, Roddy and REYNOR, boyfriends, they're besties. Roddy was like, he does lots of things. And I said, look, don't get me wrong, he's got many different openings and mid games. But once it gets past a certain point, REYNOR almost always tries to just swarm you with like 85 drone Ravager Baneling, and he would just roll endless waves of Banelings in, trying to get on your worker line. And we have seen games, even like against Showtime in this tournament and the like, where it's just like a game of just defend those 4 bases from like 600 Banelings rolling in, and then do one big giant counterattack. And REYNOR's so good at defending the counterattack that sometimes he still finds a way through. But if you can stop his early Baneling swarms, then it's very very hard for him to get on through. That being said, REYNOR's the best at splitting against those in the world. Bit of a mistake on that Adept Shade. Classic letting this Zergling scout that it's a Void Ray first opening. Okay, Void Ray is gonna deny scouting. Is it gonna be something cheeky in the follow-up? Because there's like a funny meta in pro gameplay where Void Ray is going to hunt down Overlord and deny scouting. And that usually is to hide some sort of all-in behind it, right? At least it was at some point in time. It's not the case anymore, because as Zerg sees the Void Ray, they start losing the Overlord, they immediately are like, what are you trying to hide? And they're even better at scouting and playing safe than normal. So I would say like Creator was a big Void Ray fan for a while, and he would just use a Void Ray into 3 Oracles to just control the map and just play a very slow defensive style. I don't know if Classic's going to play quite the same, but very curious to see what he's got in mind for us. Third hatchery is coming up. The queens are well split between these bases. No spore crawlers. But now that an Oracle's almost out, of course, REYNOR's going to have to be careful with defending that. Third base goes down nice and quick, 4 minutes just after. You could argue that's slightly delayed, but having gone for a Void Ray, and actually 4 gases before the third. Are we going double Stargate? Yeah, Fleet Beacon goes down. Fleet Beacon goes down. Oh my, Classic's being a naughty boy. Classic's going to pull out a naughty boy build here. REYNOR is going to be interesting to see how he handles it. Oracle gets a drone there. Second Stargate goes down up in the main base for Classic. Oracle's going to rotate around to the south. He's going to look for some drones. No Spore Crawler in the main. Big mistake here for REYNOR. Luckily, that queen pops out in the nick of time. Nonetheless, losing 4 drones. An unfortunate start. Because remember, this is not your first Oracle. This is Void Ray into Oracle. Like, it's kind of delayed, right? So you shouldn't really be taking much damage there. That does put Classic ahead on the economy. Ling's going to try and force their way in, but with the Void Ray and in the Depth solid in the wall, that's not going to work. Sees another Adept in between the gases, nicely positioned. Probes long distance mining that third base. The first carrier does start. I was wondering if it would be Tempests to try and pick off the queens, but the carriers, I think, are in general a much scarier unit to have on the board. You have 2 to 4 carriers out, it forces a massive response. And there's no way that Reynor can scout this because he doesn't have Overlord speed, nor does he have a lair to make an Overseer. So he's just kind of stuck going, all right, well, I've seen a Void Ray, I've seen 2 Adepts, I haven't seen anything else. And he's got to be wondering, is it Glaive Adepts? Like, what is going on here? He's got 14 Zerglings. He has a Roach Horn finished. And notice Reynor also has a lot of supply free. That's so that if he sees a bunch of Adepts shade out or something like that, he can just hold the Roach Key down reactively. Whereas if you see a bunch of Adepts shade out and then your supply blocked, you are screwed. So having a bit of extra supply free, it's kind of inbuilt flexibility and gives him the ability to react more once he figures out what Classic's going for. So it's very advanced play for Reynor. I really like the way he's done that. And he's going to go up to 4 gases and a 4th hatchery as well. His economy is looking great. He sees the carrier. Okay, he sees the carrier. Immediately, Spire will go down. He's actually only got 2 workers on this this gas. That's a bit of a mistake. He fixes it, though. Extra Spore Crawler in the main. And he's going to move a Spore Crawler forward to the front. He's going to bring every single queen to the front right now. He's just making sure he's got this defense all right. Look at that, attacking some creep tumors for now is Classic. And Classic's going to rotate to this right angle. That's why the spores are there. Reynor realizes if the carriers go to the high ground, he's going to have to split his queens. Half on the low ground, half on the high ground. And the carriers can pick whichever they think is the weak point. Behind this, Blinken +1 coming in. This is an ancient all-in, isn't it? Carriers into Blink. Oh, Oracle almost falls, barely survives on 1 hit point. It's a lot of queens right now. Reynor does not see those carriers until now. He's going to have to move those queens up into the main, but he's got to be careful because there's 3 spores in the main. The carriers can just change to the natural. If you move all your queens into the main, the carriers are just going to move down there. Okay, 3 queens are still down there. Never mind. Good split on the queens. Those carriers can focus the drones. The drones are really the juicy target here. If you just shift-click these drones down, there we go. Nice moves by Classic. And you can fly away with your carriers. As long as you don't lose any carriers, this is great damage. 5 drones going down. He's going to try and fight the queens. Got to be careful. That carrier is taking a few hits there. The Spore Crawler does shoot it. And 7 drones do go down. Now, this is not the end of the world. Reynor's got a Spire almost finished that'll shut down future carriers once he gets some Corruptors out. And this was just 2 carriers. I actually love this. 2 carriers into Mass Blink and a 4th base. Oh, this is really, really, really cool. Seeing extra gateways, Reynor knows it's a ground transition. But does he realize it's Blink? He might think it's Zealot Archon. Ooh, okay, carriers coming in. They grab another drone, and oh, they change targets a little bit more than they probably should have. Oh, a carrier gets shot down, though. That is unfortunate, because now there's no teeth left in this push. Reynor sees Stalkers. He sees no actual carriers building, and he's like, well, I'm just not going to build Corruptors. Like, maybe I'll build some later, but, like, why would I? And notice Classic started building Void Rays there, but then he actually canceled it. So he was like, oh, I'm totally building more Void Rays. The Overseer saw it, but he actually didn't finish off with his Stalkers killing that Overseer, which I do think is a big mistake, because now Reynor can basically just keep scouting, see that the Stargates aren't producing whenever he decides to look at that. He sees it now, and it's just a big Blink attack on the front. Up 20 army supply is Reynor. He's got a good army in production. It's not all together at the front. He's got a lot of Ravagers morphing that aren't here. He's got to be careful, but at the same time, Classic is deep on creep, and once those Zerglings start coming in, this could be a big mistake for Classic. I think he's overcommitting right now. His Stalker micro quite good, but look at that Roach Ravagers swarm jumping on top. Queens on the left do start going down, but a bunch of Stalkers falling. Remember, Stalkers are very valuable units. You don't want to lose many. 5 Stalkers going down for just a few Queens, Roaches, Ravagers, and Lings. That being said, Classic has a 4th up. He's going to add Psystorm, +2 attack, and trying to probe up to catch up with that 82 worker count of Reynor. Reynor's going Hive, Baneling Nest, 5 more drones. Now, this is a really interesting scenario because I really feel that Reynor should just shove with Max Roach Ravager to trade because his army's not going to get better with time. On the other hand, he doesn't have Baneling speed, which means it's just Roach Ravager Ling, and Stalkers are very good defensively with shield batteries. And what anti-air do you have? He can always use the Carrier, the Void Ray, the Oracle. Unless you can... I mean, he's got enough creep. He could probably move his Queens forward, actually. I think Reynor might be missing a timing right now. Pre-Storm to just shove with Max Roach Ravager. Because he's already on 86 workers. And the longer he sits there without trading, I think he might be a little afraid of these air units and just kind of confused about this weird carrier into Blink play. I actually really think he needs to trade right now. Because if you think about it, there's no splash damage. Until Storm finishes, there's no splash damage. There's no disruptors. A carrier, a Void Ray, and an Oracle is not enough to hold off the Queens. And you could just swarm in over the top. I don't think there's enough Stalkers, or at least there wasn't enough Stalkers to fully defend from that sort of assault. but he decided not to go for it. He's waiting for Baneling speed, Adrenal, +2 range, Great Aspire, and a second Evo. So it looks like Reynor's happy to play late game with Classic. And it's not like Classic has the best late game army either. I mean, if you go late enough, these Stalkers become trash tier units as well. We can see how he goes with that. Ooh, okay. Bile's going down there. Ling Bane's going to roll in on that top side. Ooh-wee. And that is going to find not much damage. Good reaction so far by Classic. The Stasis Trap throws some units at the front as well. 16 probes just went down. Oh, he stacked up on the gas, did he? Oh, he stacked up on the gas, and the Baneling did actually hit it. That's a big mistake there for Classic. Reynor with a nice, cheeky little Baneling run by. Oh, that was my bad on the observing, guys. I apologize for that. Waddling Banelings find the money. Big mistake from Classic. He's got enough bank. I don't think it matters. He will re-probe up very quickly whenever he chooses to hold that probe key down. And there is a big army on the field. Psystorm lands on the Ravagers, pushing back Reynor's army. What do we got here? 2 Archons, 6 Zealots, 6 High Templar, 29 Stalkers. A gigantic force here for Classic, looking really, really good. The High Templar gathering up at the front as well. Broodlords are morphing, but it's 8 Broodlords. The rest of the army is not very good for this stage of the game. And this is what I was talking about with Reynor was stuck on a rather low-tier army. Even when he makes Broodlords, he doesn't have Infestors, which means the Stalkers can just blink on them and kill them. There's lots of Spore Crawlers, so you can tell Reynor's worried about the carriers. But without Lurkers or Infestors or something, I actually think the ground army of Classic can probably just push through and win. He doesn't even need to use the carriers here. It's a scary moment for Reynor, a handful of Ravagers and Banelings there. I like that he's trying to trade off these units and distract Classic. But if Classic's decisive enough, he might be able to shove through. He's actually going to pick off a bunch of Ravagers there. Stalker's blinking forward. Bile's not able to really kill any units. And very good attempts for Reynor to hang on, but he's got to be so careful with those Broodlords. Roaches and Lings are rallying into the natural. Reynor not microing this as well as we expect from the Italian Stallion. They're all stuck on move command, not attacking. Stalkers blink forward. One of the Broodlords goes down. Make that 2. 2 Broodlords just fell there. Great fight for Classic, I believe. He might be able to do this. There's a lot of Queens for Transfuse, though, so good usage of those Queens to keep him safe. Didn't really get too many probe kills, Reynor. He's killed 19 in total. So the thing is, Classic didn't re-probe after the first big loss. He's now trying to, but he is a little supply blocked on 188. Reynor's got a 5th base up there as well. He's making +2 melee. Very important to make those Broodlings into better units. Luckily for him, Classic does not have armor or shield upgrades. If you get like +3 armor, +3 shields, Broodlings really struggle against that, as do Zerglings. A nice cancel on the 5th base attempt. Reynor's being active with the Lings, finding damage, even denies that probe, just forcing Classic to bring a different probe from his natural over to build it. And he actually pulls that off gas as well. Maybe a slight mistake there. More Broodlords morphing. Banelings were really good for run-bys, but I don't think they're very useful in frontal engagements anymore. There's too many Archons and High Templar with Storms. So I think Banelings are not that good for even defending the Broodlords. Technically, if the Stalkers blink on them, you can basically like roll the Banelings in and do a bunch of damage, but we'll see how we go. Banelings there. Gonna roll into the cannons. Ooh-wee! Oh, Banelings going after those. Okay, very nice. Let's see what happens. He's gonna roll to that side as well. We've got the Stalker carrier army trying to pull back over to the left now. Storm does land on those Broodlings. Broodlords just raining down death on this from above, man. The Archon's going to get away, going to get a nice snipe on the corner base and then try and escape. Zealots coming down that right. Probes did evade for the most part. 10 workers went down. I am a little worried that Classic is not holding down the probe key. After each of these losses, he's not rebuilding his probes. And even though I think he's trading okay, he's like 2,000 resources better. If you don't re-probe, you sit in the 50s, you're going to just run out of bank. Now, oh, isn't that cute? He's bringing his army home and he's decided, you guys are not the best late game units. You are now what we call a prick of Zerg hatred. Zerg do not hate like this. He's going to try to come in, snipe the hatchery, and run away, I believe. He's going to try and distract somewhere in the top right, pull the army up there, keep clearing the creep, which he's done a very good job of using that Oracle. Doesn't really have many observers out yet. He's got just 1 on the field. Baneling's going to come in. Probes quick to evacuate. Stalkers should be able to defend that. Oh, wait. Are they? Careful. Builds a gateway to block. Stalker warping on the right side. Pylon goes down and only gets a single probe damaged. Not too bad there. +2 melee, not quite finished. So those probes not getting one shot just yet. More Lings getting ready in the top right. Those Stalkers are hidden. And as far as Reynor can see, he's like, oh, your army's up here. So notice he's got nothing on the bottom left right now. His army's not that mobile. He's actually making ultralisks. Hatchery goes down there. Oh, the Stalkers get spotted by the Overlord. That's very good for REYNOR. That'll give him time to respond. But what can he respond with? 11 Zerglings, 4 Roaches? Don't know about this one. The Stalkers are like, hey, wait a second. We outnumber you. I'm the Zerg player now. I am the mobile one. You're the one who's building stupid, slow Protoss units. That's what Broodlords are like. They're like carriers, man. They're really slow and immobile. Banelings roll in, get 6 more probes. Tempest trying to deal with these ones, though. You got to be careful. Stalkers do retreat to that side. Good pull-aways on the probes for Classic. He's still sitting at a rather low worker count, but he's doing some pretty good micro down here. Oh, he misclicked that second volley. Wasn't able to take out any of the Ultras. Picks off a Ravager and fades away. Nicely done. Classic is ahead 3,500 resources in the units lost tab. Both players mining the same sort of bases right now, so neither side has like a big mining advantage or anything. REYNOR's definitely been mining more income earlier in this game, which is why he's a bit more bank. Ooh, Psystorm does take out a couple drones. Picking off a gas, but Classic doesn't want to expose himself to any big mistakes. Those Stalkers still waiting for an opportunity in the bottom left. We've got another Robo coming up. More Immortals. Mothership building right now. Mama! Yeah, Mama is always interesting because she can be very annoying if you surprise the Zerg in one fight where the Zerg commits and then they realize they don't have detection. Other than that, the -400 meme does kind of stand strong. It's a lot of the time she just gets abducted and taken down. 2 Vipers are out. Plenty of energy as well, I believe. Nope, just sitting on the natural for now. What actually shoots up in this army? 12 Queens? There's no Corruptors right now. This is kind of scary. To not have anything that deals with the 4 Carriers and the 2 Tempests, other than 12 Queens. 2 Vipers, that's not the best. Let's check out REYNOR's control groups, by the way. Sorry, I haven't had control groups turned on this whole time. Main army is just everything on 1 on the ground, the A-move army. Vipers on 2, Broodlords on 3. Now, his queens, where are his queens? His queens are not control grouped. That is fascinating. His queens, he's literally just been right-clicking them on a Broodlord, I think, for the most part. Yeah, I think they're right-clicked on a Broodlord. So his queens are all just following a Broodlord right now. So he doesn't, and he just manually selects them to transfuse. Man, the top pros are so good at manually selecting things and using them when they need to. Oh, I'm blind. It's over there. They're on 10, guys. Okay, that must be like a W or something like that. Good catch from Twitch chat. Thank you, guys. Baneling's rolling in the left right now. Man, Classic's just so good at pulling his probes away whenever he needs to. The Stalkers were hiding in the bottom left. That army ran up the left flank thinking the Stalkers were gone. They finally get that hatchery snipe they were looking for earlier in this game. They're going to dive in right now. Going after the double spire would be great, but he's not focusing on it. There's a lot going on. Stalkers on the right, trying to focus on this. Classic going for a crazy multi-prong. He's going to deny the greatest spire, getting rid of the +3 attack as well. The Stalkers get annihilated by the Ultras and the Banes, though. Archon Carrier going to try to shove the left side right now. Stalkers are going to take out the hatchery on the right. That's 1-2 hatcheries and a greatest spire down, but a lot of Stalkers died to make this happen. Let's see if he can get another hatchery before he has to get taken out. The High Templar on the right got sniped by the Broodlords. Abduct comes in. The Queen will get, the Queens and the Corruptors will take care of that carrier. Broodlords are on the hunt. Another Abduct would be great here. Nice recall. And the Corruptor's not really able to finish anything. An Immortal and a Zealot should be going down to those Broodlords. Stalkers on the right finally cleaned up. That's a big hit to REYNOR's mining. Losing this hatchery, and this hatchery up here as well. So 3 hatcheries going down. His greatest spire died. He has not rebuilt it just yet. And that definitely does cost him there. Did you guys just hear that crazy sound? You guys let me know if you did. I thought I'd muted those audio alerts, but I don't know. That was weird. I think the hype train sound comes through a different audio source, apparently. Sorry. Obviously just set up for our new streamings and recording setup, and it's a little bit different. So apologies for the loud sound. Thank you very much, whoever it was who just set off that hype train. I really appreciate the love, mate. Corruptor Viper doing what it can. Mass Cannon going up in the top right. We've got Carrier, Tempest, Archon roaming around this map. Sporkrul is here as well. Broodlord Queen trying to hang out on that side. We've got the Lings here. And, oh, okay. High Templar hanging out there. Going to drop a nice Stormy Storm. Ultras are always a bit of an issue. Battery Overcharge is going to tank a little bit of it. Oracle turns on its laser beam, but it's kind of fickle against that. Going to have to just bring the army over, pull the probes away, and then pull them back. Not too bad there by that. I feel like Classic, he's staying on a lower worker count, which is my big concern. I feel like 66 probes doesn't give you a lot of room for error. On the other hand, look at that. Snaps a Corruptor. Did he get a Corruptor? Actually, I don't think he did. Hasn't killed many air units yet. But now with the Tempest out, he can start picking away. Having a bigger army supply is fantastic because it just means you've got a few more units to make sure you don't lose any fights too badly. On the other hand, not having the bank means if you do screw up really badly in a battle, of course, it's very hard to replenish. Now, Reynor himself has gone down to 66 workers, and 2 probes got picked off somewhere. Oh, minus 400, minus 400. And there, yep, that's... I looked away for a second because I thought there's no way anything else was going to happen there. Classic screws up. He should have been able to feed back those Vipers before they abducted. He didn't. He ends up losing Mothership, and he immediately replaces it, which is kind of funny because I don't really think it adds that much to his army. Baneling, Ultraling Bane trying to roll in. All those Banelings trying to get right in, take out the battery, overcharge. Getting rid of that pylon would be huge. Takes it down, depowers the cannons on the right. This is a big problem for Classic right now. He does have to recall. I was going to say he's got recall ready, but by using this, he won't have it ready for another 2 minutes. It's a big issue right now. Ultra's going to try and pull over there as well. Archon High Templar trying to clear up this base on the left. Oh, the Corruptors are going after the Tempest, but they cop 1 or 2 big Storms. The Tempests are going to... Okay, oh man, that Storm and Archon's actually doing really good damage. It looked like a good catch for Reynor, but he's taking big damage. And how do these Corruptors get home, man? He's already taken some giant Side Storms, and now a few more Archon hits. He's losing so many of these Corruptors. He did get 3 Tempests and an Oracle. I don't think it's the worst trade if he can get these Corruptors home and transfuse them back up, but... Definitely a little bit of a scary situation. The units lost tab still pretty even at 3,000 resource difference. Oh, he finds the High Templar warping in. Very painful for Classic. He's going to try to warp in a few Zealots there to buy a little bit of time. But yeah, those extra cannons building, that's free kills there for Reynor. He's going to siege the left with his Broodlords. This is what we call a gambler's move. Reynor exposing those Broodlords with 0 support. What are you doing, Reynor? Reynor, get out of there. Those Tempests are going to chase you down. This is so far beyond risky. He stayed way too long. He is lucky that Classic is a bit afraid of him right now. Classic's a little bit afraid because he's just lost his top right base. And the Abduct gets down. He does get 1 Tempest. Can he get a second one? And it looks like, yep, that Tempest actually died to Psystorm at the end of that. That was kind of funny. But a Viper has died and 6 Corruptors. And yet he's actually killed 3 Tempests. So 3 Tempests, a couple of Oracles. It's okay. It's not the end of the world. The Ultras and the Lings pulling back on that right side as well. Mothership is now out and starting to gather energy. It's funny, talking about recall just before, I was thinking about it, like there was some people, when I was casting that classic TY series with the mech game, and you got to keep recalling, and I was like, oh, you got to recall, you know, you got to always have recall ready whenever you're out on the map. And there was a few people commenting, being like, oh, this idiot caster doesn't even know the cooldown of recall. And I was having to explain to people in the comments of that video that the Mothership actually has recall as well. Mass recall. And you can recall to the Motherships. The whole point of late game is you can use that to maybe recall into the enemy main base or just leave it in the back and recall your units to safety. Both are very good moves. And I'd say that positional ability is the best usage of the Mothership. I think the Cloak, not that useful. The Time Warp can be very good in a giant fight. It's just very rare you can actually land it because it takes so long to go down. But, Archon Carrier Tempest going to take out the bottom left base again. Classic's done a pretty good job with the map control, but notice Reynor keeps respreading creep. Reynor's done like an amazing job of respreading creep on all sides. He's constantly putting that back down. And that's actually keeping a bit of a map control dance between the two. Nice Storms to clear some of the Ling Bane. Not enough cannons to hold this on their own though. Remember, Ultras are pretty tough. 500 hit points, 7 armor. And a lot more things going down. Dude, these probes are very exposed right now. Army's going to recall just 2 Immortals and then going to try to repower the batteries and the cannons, no doubt. Oracles go for some Revelations. You got to be careful. Reynor can just abduct the Oracles, and those are very high value targets as well. 150 gas, 150 minerals for each of those. They're not that much more expensive or more cheaper, sorry, than like a Tempest or a Void Ray, you know. Oracles are pretty expensive units themselves, and they are also the very important vision unit of Classic. So every one of those he can abduct is big for Reynor. If Reynor could maybe sneak a hatchery in the top right and mine some of those minerals, that would be amazing. Because he's done a pretty good job of keeping his ground army very active on the map. Massling runs in on the right. Those High Templar, if he gets us around, would be great. Classic. Uh-oh. Oh, he's going to lose a bunch of High Templar here. A cannon, 2 High Templar, 2 Immortals. That is an amazing trade for a handful of Zerglings. And then Classic move commands away because he's getting jumped on in the middle. The Ultras tried to ambush the High Templar. They distract Classic, allowing the Lings to get way more damage. They're also going to burrow in that mineral line. I don't know if Classic was noticing it, but it looks like he does have an Observer. He does take those Zerglings out, but he loses a few more units, and that unit's lost tab dangerously close. Classic was ahead for most of this game, no longer. And since he had less economy than REYNOR, I would say that's a problem. But actually, REYNOR's down to 49 drones. So REYNOR's income is not good at all either. This is a kind of low economy, late game ZvP war right now. Classic kind of forcing the game to this stage with his awkward carrier into Stalker build. Banelings clear the probes on the right side. Archon gets surrounded. They're morphing Archon by those Zerglings. REYNOR's been trading so well with the Zerglings. Accidentally does leave an Ultra behind. How many corruptors? We got 19 corruptors with +2 attack. +3 air attack is almost finished. Of course, he's been delayed on those upgrades from that earlier Spire snipe. Whereas 3-3 is here for the air of Protoss already. Oracle goes down. The corruptor survives. And he goes to attack the left. He sees 2 Immortals, 2 High Templar, and a massive cannons. My only criticism of Classic here is this is so much static for a base that is not going to be around that much longer. It's got a lot of gas mining still, I guess. Ooh, Fungal. Fungal, if you can trap those Archons, the Broodlords can snipe him down. But nice feedback. Tempest take out the High Templar. Archons will regenerate. Good pullback by Classic, who leaves Mama sticking out. Classic, you got to pull Mama to safety. I don't think he keeps Mama on a hotkey, guys. -400, -400. I mean, if at the moment REYNOR sees her there, she's just going to die. Classic's so lucky that didn't go down. You can see Classic's hotkeys. Carriers, Archons, Immortals. Those are the A move on number 1. High Templar number 2. Tempest on number 3. Oracles are now going on number 4. And he's going to just tell them to follow it. Oh, -400? -400. She drops 2 time warps that take a few seconds. They finally activate after everything's already said and done. That's exactly what you expect from the Mama. That's the second Mama to die this game, right? Yeah, second Mama immediately rebuilds her. I admire Classic's determination. You know, Classic's like, it just doesn't feel right, you know? She might be old and useless, but I still love her. I still love my mum. I'm gonna spend my 400 because she raised me, you know? I grew from the Mothership's womb. That's where the Protoss warped in from, I guess. And he's like, you know what? We'll pay it back. I would argue better to keep her wherever she is before you warp her onto this map and she gets devoured by vicious Zerg corruptors and Vipers once again. I would argue that. I don't know if it's such a loving move, but Classic seems like think rebuilding her over and over is a good idea. Oh, that's what I'm talking about. Double Oracle Snipe. That's huge. 300 minerals, 300 gas down just like that. You just killed a battlecruiser worth of resources. That is massive. Ultraling Bane comes in. Not a good idea for REYNOR. Unless you neural the Immortals. Oh my god, he's neuraling the Immortals and blasting the cannons down with them. REYNOR. Oh, with the big tentacle plays right now. Absolutely big firm tentacle there. Turning Classic's anti-armor units against himself. Haven't seen that on a run by before. Corruptors dive in. I don't know if that was worth it. Looks like he got a carrier, I think. But he did lose a bunch more Corruptors. We'll see. He's trying to obviously keep Classic on the ropes. If he can get an Ultra on top of those probes, that could be massive. Oh, get him! Nom, nom, nom! Oh, we get 7 probes. Most of the probes do escape, but Classic's losing that middle base at the same time. REYNOR is bullying Classic right now. It really does feel like REYNOR, with these Ultraling Bane armies, are doing so well. He's bullying him. He's looking... Oh, Mama number 3's out. Corruptor Viper's looking for her. They're looking for pickups. They're going to find another 2 Oracles going down. Dude, that is so painful. Those 8 Oracles are really stacking up in the resources lost. Look at this. REYNOR is now 3,000 resources lost ahead. He's got a way bigger bank. Storm Drop comes in. Classic. With a huge Psionic Storm play. Massive, massive moves. Gets a bunch of Lings and 15 drones. It's going to hide that Prism as well over there in the main. Maybe morph an Archon by the looks of it. Corruptors will snap that Prism. But a few Archons and Zealots going to warp in, going to go after some tech. Classic takes out the bottom left at the same time. Classic says, screw defending. I need to be the offensive player sometimes as well. 2 Immortals, bunch of High Templar and Cannons defending that top right. Archon Zealot going to run in. What's he going to click on? No big important structures here. And with an Ultralisk nearby, it's not going to work out. The Zealot's stuck behind the big Archon, fat belly. And the Ultraling will clean this up. So that's going to be a pretty good trade there for REYNOR. Doesn't lose anything important. But those 15 drones did hurt. He hasn't really replaced them. He's only on 36 workers right now. 6 Infestors, 2 Vipers. Going to go up to 8 Infestors, 11 Broodlords, 23 Corruptors. Now, keep in mind, it's a big ground army for Classic. You got 7 High Templar, 6 Archons, 5 Immortals. That's a big ground army. There's only 11 Broodlords. If Reynor gets caught out, loses 3 or 4 of those Broodlords to Tempests, he can't really deal with the ground army very quickly at all. So there is a very kind of over-exaggeration on spellcasters and anti-air corruptor usage right now for Reynor, as well as run-bys with the Ultras. He's got to be very, very much careful and make sure that those Broodlords don't get caught out. Lings try to burrow in the main, they all get cleaned up. Classic, unfortunately, F2s those Zealots home. They could have killed that bottom base. But if he catches the Infestors, that'd be nice. Fungal plus Queen going to deal with it for now. Broodlords have picked off a bit of the static over there. The probes are evacuating. Zealots try to run away, but they get F2'd back again. This way, that way, this way. The competing orders. For those who don't know about a lot of the organizational disasters that happen in a lot of militaries, both modern and ancient, I sometimes like to think F2 is basically just the simulator of that, of like politicians trying to backseat, you know, frontline decisions that should probably be made by generals and officers in charge. And they're like, no, you need to go save Private Ryan because his brother's died or something. And you're like, what? What are we even doing? This is dumb. And they're like, no, we got to do it, man. Anyway, very, very weird example. Basically, that's F2. Go this way. No, go that way. Go this way. The Ultraling does run in and start to get rid of some of these probes. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, ow, 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 ow. 16 probes go down. Hatchery on the right does fall here, but Classic's economy getting knocked back to the Stone Age. The Carrier Tempest High Templar trying to pull back. We've got Immortal Archon hanging out. Mama number 4. I love it. Classic. I mean, so many people would have been like, dude, this is way too much effort. I'm going to leave you in the Nexus home, the Nexus nursing home. Classic says, no. He's going to make her over and over and over again, even when he's broke. He doesn't have much money coming in right now. This game's kind of wild. They're both broke. Raynor's got a fresh base in the bottom left. He's got a base trying to rebuild here with a decent amount of minerals. I don't think he has any other gas mining. He's got 900 gas in reserve on that base that he never mined. Everything else is mined out. Oh! Abducts 2 Tempests. He gets feedback, but he'd already cast Abduct. And even if he hadn't, the Vipers don't actually die from feedback because they've got enough hit points. So he gets a couple of those big units. Very nice plays for Reynor. He's being the Viper King right now out there sharking around, and I just keep looking at the air units. It's like you've lost 9 Corruptors, 1 Viper, 1 Infestor, 3 Broodlords for 5 Tempests, 3 Carries, 8 Oracles, and 3 Motherships. It feels like in the skies, Reynor is winning. On the other hand, in the ground, he has been trading a lot of Ultras, Lings, and Banes from mostly, I guess, cannons. But he's also killing a lot of probes, limiting the bases, and 5,000 resources ahead of the units lost. Reynor's winning the units lost tab, but he is not winning this game. I want to make that very abundantly clear. A Zerg is naturally usually less efficient and wants to have a bit more money, a bit more bank for the remax, especially if they're still using things like Ultras, Zerglings, and Banelings. And if you're only on 30 drones, mining very little resources, Protoss actually is mining more, and you're both kind of maxed out, there's actually more army supply for Protoss right now. I wouldn't say this is an advantage for you. Now, interestingly, Classic is a man who's very, very fertile, and of course, he's a man that fluxes. You know, some Protoss, they're a bit more, they're less virile, less into it. Classic flux, though. He definitely flux. This guy flux. So he's got the veins about to come in there, and Spore Crawler's on the right. So that's the speed upgrade. For those who don't know, it does slow down the Void Rays once they activate their prismatic alignment, but other than that, they're super duper fast when they aren't actually activated just yet. Reynor would love to mine one of these bases out. If he lets Classic mine this top white base and then eventually retake these bases, that's going to be pretty good for Classic. Classic's still sharking around. If he can clear these Spore Crawlers, that'll really help him out. Those Oracles haven't been sniped off in a while, and you can see Classic's now doing a good job of revealing the terrain. And if these units come forward, you'll see him try to focus them down, especially if he can focus the Vipers with the Tempests and land feedbacks on them. That's going to be very effective. Those Vipers have not gathered energy in a while. Mistake from Reynor there. Reynor goes for the backstab and forces Classic to recall. Interesting little discussion, guys, that started over when I was casting Gamers8. I kept saying backstab. There's people who posted a Reddit thread, they're like, backstab? What is a backstab? Isn't a backstab only when you kill your friend? And I was like, backstab's like any time you just catch your opponent from behind, right? You know, you don't get me wrong. It's like generally, you know, it could also be killing your friend, but it's anytime you're catching them off guard, right? And on the other hand, a lot of people use counterattack for any time you do a run by or a backstab, but a counterattack should always be specifically something that you do in response to your opponent's attack. You wait for them to strike and then you do a counter strike, right? So if you just randomly do a ling run by, that is not a counterattack. There we go. A couple units getting picked off, but some big storms landing. I don't know if that was worth, once again. I mean, I always say that, but as long as his units don't die and they all just get damaged, he will gather energy and heal those corruptors up again. So we'll see exactly which way they go. Here we go. Spores trying to burrow. We've got, how many Broodlords is that? 11 Broods, 8 Carriers, 5 Tempests, 3 Void Rays. It feels like the air army is much bigger, and Classic is slowly replacing units with more Void Rays. Ultra Baneling. Oh, the storms! Big, fat, juicy storms there. The Immortal High Templar for Classic being used very well. Oh, watch out, watch out, watch out, Classic, watch out. Oh, God. He gets caught out. He lands some more storms. One Immortal's gone down, but it's just Ultras now. And if he morphs some Archons, that would be great. Morphs one Archon up front. The Ultras have to back off. Here we go. Units coming on forward. Okay. Gonna try and go down to the bottom left side. Got Lings moving in towards. Void Rays are coming down that bottom left as well. Immortal Archon, High Templar trying to move forward. Oh, man. Okay, Lings are going to go into the main base, just being annoying, but Reynor hasn't really found any big value because Classic's always been on top of it. Units Lost tab has actually gone back in Classic's favor a bit in the last few minutes. Oh, and as I say that, Reynor grabs 1, 2, 3 carriers. That was a juicy set of pickoffs. He even grabs a Void Ray as Classic turns around. Very nice trades there for Reynor. Still 3,000 resources ahead in that unit's loss, make it 3.5. But he's going to lose a base. Where are his Broodlords? They're a little bit slow to get down here, and even though he's done well in some of these air fights, he doesn't have much Viper energy. The Void Rays are very scary. The Broodlord's Copper Storm. He's already lost the base. I don't think he should fight. Reynor's going to have to pull back here and be very careful about this next engagement. Classic's catching him when he's low on energy. And you can see whenever he does that, he pops a bunch of Infestors there with feedbacks and Tempest shots. And this game is now very, very much in an economic broke position. More workers for Classic, but nowhere to mine. He's just got this base. Reynor's just got that base. Did Reynor find that gas that he never mined? No. He's still got 900 gas there he could mine. I don't think it matters because his minerals are severely lacking in this game. He's going to try to rebuild a hatchery there. He's trying to make more Spore Crawlers. And those Vipers need to gather more energy. That's one thing you got to keep an eye on, is sending those Vipers back to gather energy, as well as trying to keep transfusing these weak Corruptors. Get them back to full life before the next engage. Classic's going to try and take this left base. Has he done any compositional adjustments? Not really. It's just the Void Ray creep, right? He's going back up. He's actually got an Oracle in production there. I think that wastes supply, doesn't it? So he should definitely be building some pylons to repower those Stargates. The Zerglings actually had quite an effect. Feedback does go down, but the Oracle does get abducted and taken out nonetheless. Void Ray count's creeping up. There we go. He's going to repower that. 9 Void Rays against how many Corruptors? 21. So the problem is, if you land Fungal Parasitic Bomb, Void Rays are trash. But if the Void Rays can either spread out and avoid that, or if they can just come in once the spells are done, they do really well versus Corruptors. I normally, when I see Protoss players in late game go Void Rays, they're like, oh, this isn't working, let's make Void Rays. And then they always get hit by Fungal Parasitic Bomb and lose the game. We're going to see if Classic can buck that trend. Because I always feel like, yes, it can technically work. The problem is this. That big clump of units is a juicy target. And if you just leave your army clumped up like that, you chase into a Zerg, it is inevitable the Fungal Parasitic Bomb, the Wombo combo will land. And that's going to do crazy damage because it's 30 damage for the Fungal, 120 for the Parasitic Bomb. So 150 AoE damage already puts the Void Rays down below half-life. And then you land 1 or 2 more Fungals or a few more other attacks, all the Void Rays will disappear very quickly. Still only at 11 Broodlords is Reynor. He's finally got those 3/3 upgrades. He is missing +3 for his 4 Queens, which is not important at all, so it doesn't really matter. Classic's got a new base up there. Reynor has a new base here, but Reynor only has 13 drones. Both players are broke. I love that Reynor's replacing creep. I think continuing to do that is very important because the creep gives you vision, and vision is half the battle. Oh, abduct, grabs a Corruptor. Nice move for Reynor once again. He's looking for some more. Those High Templar come forward. And this is always scary because it's hard to notice those High Templar until they move into detection range. So sometimes you think, oh, there's a Mothership or some Tempests, you try to abduct, and you actually walk in and get all your spellcasters feedback. Mass Ultra Ling YOLO! Reynor going for a crazy engagement right now. He does cop some giant Side Storms, and he's in Time Warp. Those Corruptors need to move out of Time Warp right now. He's also fighting Tempest. He needs to go after the Carriers and the Void Rays. The Corruptors are focus firing the wrong units. They finally come in and start taking down the units, but the Void Rays are all there, smashing the Corruptors. Absolutely annihilating the Corruptors. Beautiful play. Those Void Rays and Carriers were all on the left. The Tempests are not a high damage unit. They are the lowest priority, and there just wasn't enough anti-air. Reynor did clear the ground army quite successfully with the Mass Ultra, but he didn't have enough air, and he didn't land enough spells on those Void Rays and Carriers to really get them down. Very, very well played by Classic to avoid the worst of the Corruptors and the Spellcasters, and he does end up smashing it. Reynor is trying to build more Corruptors and Infestors right now. He does have 6 Ultras, but remember, there's still 3 Immortals, an Archon, and some High Templar on the ground. So even with this Ultra count, you might get them gunned down by the Immortals before they can do much. 65 damage a shot from those Immortals. Is there a Disruptor? There's a random Disruptor in here. Okay, Classic. I guess he's going to try and hit that on the Infestors, maybe the Queens. There's only 1 Infestor out, 3 more building right now, though. Classic's up 30 supply. That 27 workers versus 13 makes a big difference. Reynor is running out of minerals on the right, so he'll probably transfer those to the bottom left, but that base is also a little bit lower. A few minerals here, a few minerals there and there. Classic has the majority of the minerals left on his side of the map, and Reynor is going to have to be perfect in his next few engagements because he's down 27 army supply, and Classic is going for his last bit of economy in the bottom left. Zealot's going to attack the top right at the same time. There's some Ultras, and is that only 2 Broodlords? He's only got 2 Broodlords and a bunch of Ultras. Where is the anti-air right now? The Corruptor Viper's over there. What? Reynor! What's going on, buddy? Okay, he does bring his Corruptor Viper over here, but a little bit late on that. Got to keep looking for those pickoffs with the Vipers, man. The Corruptors were on Smoko 100%. 6 Ultras out, but Reynor feels like he's up against the wall right now. Classic's done very well in these late games, and you can see the resources lost went massively in favor of Classic after that last big fight. 69,000 resources lost for Reynor. Classic's only lost 62,000. There's 2 Vipers, 5 Infestors, 18 Corruptors. Reynor needs the spell casting of a lifetime. Reynor needs a couple of Neurals on the Carriers. He needs Fungals on the Void Rays. He needs Parasitic Bombs on the Void Rays. And hopefully his Ultras can flank to get on top of the High Templar nice and fast. Here we go. Big fight. This looks like it might be a big fight. Reynor, he's got Broodlord Ultra Infested at the bottom left. The Infestor's burrowed looking for Neural. He's just waiting for 100 energy. He's got the Vipers and the Corruptors there. Well, Classic once again says, I'm not going to headbutt. I'm going to rotate around and clear up your creep. Just denying your vision, making it difficult for you. He's got a little pervy boy observer creeping forward. Sets that up in pervert mode. He actually sees a bunch of Ultras burrowed over there. Slight mistake. He was meant to burrow the Infestor, but he selected the wrong unit. Yeah, Reynor's clearly looking for the Neural comeback. If he can Neural a whole bunch of important units, this is going to be amazing for him. Looking for it. Very careful by Classic. He doesn't want to throw away this advantage. He's up 20 army supply. He's mining more resources as well. He doesn't really need to deny this base. Going to use the Disruptor to pick off the Spore Crawler and run away. Talk about very slow efficiency. Yeah, I mean, you really need Classic to overextend. And you need to come in from two or three sides as Reynor. I really feel you need to come in from 2 or 3 sides. But Classic's the master of, like, just baiting you into taking the bad fight. He's got a High Templar, the Immortals. He's trying to, like, maybe bait him forward here. I wouldn't mind just abducting those Immortals, killing them with the Ultras. Or neuroparasiting them to kill each other, and then go for the fight. I think Reynor's looking for the one big juicy engagement, though. With those Spore Crawlers gone, this Observer is giving amazing vision. Classic's got a few more probes moving there. Wouldn't mind him just long distance mining these minerals, to be honest, and indeed he will start. Oracle's continuing to revelate. Reynor, he's making more Ultras right now. He feels like with High Templar around, he cannot win this fight. Look at that. High Templar just runs forward and feedbacks a Viper. Oh, look at this. Classic starting to spread out his Void Rays right now. He's trying. Look at this. His ground army spread, his air army spread. He's trying to bait Reynor into a bad fight. Reynor's going to poke with 2 Broodlords. Classic clumps up. Got to be careful about clumping up like that, Classic. Both players are looking for the fight to decide the game right now. Tempest's trying to chase down that Broodlord. They get it. Tempests are going to try and force the fight. He never got the Tempest building damage upgrade, by the way. What an absolute pleb. He's building another Void Ray. Right now, there are 13 Void Rays versus 18 Corruptors. The only way Reynor wins this game is with the power of the Windfester. He needs the Neurals to end all Neurals. Reynor needs to take his tentacle, insert into Classic's carrier, and start hitting him in the face with his own carrier. Look at the spread of Void Rays! Dude, Classic with a gigantic Void Ray spready. He's like, as long as these don't get hit, that's going to be great. And he's sending the rest of his army forward to initiate the fight. The Void Rays are a reserve, so I think he wants to bait Reynor into him, and then he's going to pull them. Okay, Reynor's going forward right now. He's looking for the Neural on one of the Immortals. Two of the Immortals get stolen. Storm's going down, but look at this. Void Rays coming in with a gigantic arc. The Infestor's going forward. The Vipers as well. Parasitic Bombers on the carriers. There's a few Neurals out there as well. A few Parasitic Bombs land on the right side, but the Void Rays are spread enough that it's not that devastating. Reynor's army gets absolutely trounced. He is forced to run away. And Classic baits him into a big old spready of Protoss. I mean, he was ahead. He had the better army. But that was an absolute clinic on how to dismantle Reynor's force there. That was a beautiful engagement by Classic and a gigantic arc of Void Rays. GG, well played. All right, guys, going to the next game. Really standard openings in this one. Reynor down here in the bottom right. Classic in the top left of Gressman. And I think definitely that's a weird opening that Classic brought out. I wonder if it's solid. Like, can you just go 2 Stargate, 2 Carrier every game? I don't think so. But I think it'll work pretty well as long as the Zergs are playing late lair. But if you get someone like Dark, he might just metagame and be like, oh, I'm going to take a lair at 4 minutes, immediately make a Spire, and like just kill you with Mutalisks or something, you know, go for like 20 Mutas and just dive in, and the carriers can't really keep up with that. We'll see what happens. All right, Probes dancing around here, looking for the blocky block. Oh, he's going to go for the Pylon. I was not expecting that. The Adept's going to shade forwards as well. If he can double up on that block, that would be great. He doesn't do another shade immediately. Oh, he's got to cancel it to get the money back, but the hatchery gets down. No, it doesn't. Oh my God, I did not think he was going to be able to do that. Well done. Reynor's third, very delayed. He's going to go build it up top now. Actually, no, that's going to get blocked as well. Oh, Reynor's got so much money floating now, and he's even slightly supply booked on 36. That drone is going to go down. Oh, he's getting diddled. Classic. Just slip, slap, slopping Reynor around this map after an annoying map one. You guys know Reynor doesn't really like playing those slower late games. And even though Reynor did a really good job with all his backstabs and was more efficient for a lot of the game, I mean, Classic just took some excellent engagements and kind of outplayed him in the big engagement micro. Now he's really disrupted Reynor in game 2 in the opening. He's going to go for an Oracle first. I like that. Don't open with the Void Ray straight away. We'll see what happens. Pig, you should check the score. What? Oh, that's right. Maybe that was from a few minutes ago. Never mind. All right. Ling Scout's the third. Third base is on time. That's a very quick third. And the Oracle's just kind of spotting the Overlord on the pillar, allowing the Stalker to kill it. Solid opening for Classic. He very much likes to deny scouting. And I think that's really important. He's going to go double gas on the natural, but notice it's after the third base went down. So this is looking like a more regular blink opening. Could be charge, of course, as well. We'll see how quickly the Robo goes down. Usually a faster Robo does mean there's more chance of it being charge. Oracle's going to try and dive into the main base. Queen's trying to push them back. Third base is there. Queen's trying to... Oh, watch out. Does find one. Ooh, okay. I mean, this looked like a bad move because that Oracle took so much damage, but he ends up with 3 kills and goes back for another drive-by, but the Queens are there. Oracle number 3 coming in towards that third base. Sporkroll is, I think, decently positioned there. Main base still has 4 Queens in it as well. Let's see if Classic can find anything. And Oracle does find the drones just as they come out. Only gets one of them, though. Does take a fair bit of damage, so not too bad by the defense by Reynor. And behind it, we've got 4 more gateways on the way. Forge and Twilight. A few more Adepts are warping in. Looks like a bit more harassment is intended. 3 Adepts going to come forwards. Where is that Blinken +1 for Classic? He's very focused on his Oracle micro. It looks like he was clearing up some creep on the north. And he's going to come back in that direction. Probe's trying to fight off these 2 Zerglings. They should be able to do so. Good micro by Classic to not lose any of those. With no actual fighting units, it's a bit of a problem. Reynor with that slick micro gets himself a probe kill. Oracle Adept clearing creep on the front. Blinken +1 finally starts up. +1 melee starts for Reynor. So Reynor, I think, has got the right tech setup so far. But these Adepts are causing him a little problems. He doesn't have many Zerglings at all. And he's going to lose a few drones, forced to do a few Spore tricks. Overall, good Spore Crawler handling. And those Adepts will go down. They take out one more drone. The Queens shut them out. 3 Oracles dive in, grab themselves a single worker before the Queens should be pushing them back very quickly. But hey, there's more drones in the open. They grab 1, they grab 2. And the Oracles do have to fly out. All 3 of them still alive though. And going 6 gas. Templar Archives. Looks like Classic is planning, I would imagine, a later game transition. This doesn't feel like a mass blink play. This feels like I'm going to add either Psystorm or swap into more of a Zealot Archon army. REYNOR still doesn't see a 4th base. His own 4th is on the way, but he's trailing right now. Units Lost tab tells the story of Protoss trading very well. 11 drones, 8 Zerglings, and Overlord going down. The creep spread also got slowed down. Seeing a 4th base, REYNOR is going to have to hold that drone key down, because yeah, he's got 3 mineral lines full, but his 4th base is finished. No drones mining that just yet, and he's actually queued up a bunch more Roaches and Zerglings. He's now adding more drones, but I feel like REYNOR needs to get a move on getting to 75, 80 workers. If he doesn't get there soon, he's going to really struggle to compete with Classic in the later stages. And Classic, up in workers, he's got Stalkers and Oracles to control the map. Baneling speed is many minutes away in this game. We're not going to see Baneling speed kick in until at least 8 minutes 30, which means REYNOR does not have a super clean attack timing until then. His work account's still not growing that fast as well. He's still building more Roachling and Overlords before droning. I think REYNOR's taking way too long to drone up in this game. This is uncharacteristic. It looks like he was thinking maybe there's a mass blink attack coming, but having seen a 4th Nexus and to still be overbuilding units is a big mistake in my opinion. 6 Roaches, a Ravager, and those 20 Zerglings was more than enough. Even here, he's still going a few Roaches, a few drones, a few Zerglings, a few Roaches, a few Zerglings, a few drones. So REYNOR is going to be playing in a very similar economic position against a Protoss that has Psystorm, Oracles, Stalkers, now adding a Robo Charge +2. Classic is playing a very well-rounded macro game. He doesn't seem too afraid. You can tell he kind of senses that he's got a good read on where REYNOR's at in the game. I don't know if he scouted how saturated this base was. He didn't. So arguably Classic scouting is a little bit lackluster, because normally you want to scout and you say, oh, if there's no drones on that 4th, you're really worried about a big attack. Classic's just like doing his standard things, and I guess he feels the early game went well enough that even if there was a big 66 drone attack coming, he'd be able to defend it. Showing I would argue maybe even a little bit of disrespect towards REYNOR. Second Robo does go down. That's interesting. Double Robo. Is he going to swap into a Mortal Zealot Archon? Because there's no Robo Bay. So this is just for Observers, Immortals, and Warp Prisms. Oracles tagging those Queens. +2. Baneling speed timing is something that REYNOR is obsessed with. He's going to go for it. This is one of his favorite strategies. He loves to commit to this timing. 20 seconds till +2 melee finishes. He does need a few more Banelings by the looks of it. The Oracles come in, turn on those lasers. Overlords are nearby. They're going to put down the carpet. It's the red carpet. If you're in Hollywood, it's the purple carpet. If you're a Zerg player, pretty good spreads against the Storms, but oh, good Storm on the front there. Archon does go down, but notice Classic High Templar are falling back. He's pulling his Stalkers back, and I love the way he's engaging so far forward, so he has room to retreat. Really cool micro so far. Double Immortal production's in the way right now. Classic just making Stalkers and Immortals, realizing in this scenario, it is all about surviving. You got those 6 High Templar. They've got a good amount of Storms on them. You just got to hang on. But look at the way REYNOR's splitting around the left. He's going to try to come in from 2 sides, maybe deny that 5th base from going up. He has his own 5th base finished, but he is, of course, down 8 workers. REYNOR needs to find more damage, and he needs to find it soon. The Stalkers start hunting him down on the bottom, and REYNOR's flank turns into a bunch of isolated units that get shot down. Great positioning by Classic. A Stasis Trap cleans up a lot of units there. Beautiful Psystorms. The Stalkers started stepping backwards through that. The Ling Bane getting washed up on it, and so far these fights have been perfect for Classic. Stalker's Storm showing its defensive prowess, and it feels like REYNOR not having a super clean opening. He wasn't hitting like a super scary, overwhelming timing. You combine that with Classic's near perfect control. He's now got Stalkers on 2 sides of this, blinking backwards. Storms continuing to zone him out. Those High Templar have exhausted their energy supply, but as I say that, another 2 Storms kick in. All the other High Templar are about 30 seconds away from getting 4 more Storms. Stalkers still blinking back. The first Immortals join the front. Battery overcharges there, healing those units up. Baneling's Roach is going to commit now. They finally start actually taking down the Stalker count, but I'd say the Stalkers are the most expendable units. The fact that Classic kept his High Templar alive through that, got 4 Immortals out, and has a 5th base secured behind it. Tells me that he is large and in charge in this game. Reynor is going hive. He's building more Ling Bane. He's building 6 more drones. The Immortal Stalker High Templar doing what it can. And Reynor, I have to wonder, is there a better play if you don't have a good early game as Zerg? Do you try to go Lurkers and Turtle to late game? Do you, try to just go straight for Broodlords and play defensively? Because I definitely feel, like I said, when he gets up Ravager Bane, 80 drones, he's always going to try and swamp you with Ling Bane, Ravager, and just try to overwhelm and dodge any disruptor shots and that sort of stuff. But doing it when you're behind against a guy as good as Classic looks almost helpless. Like we see in this scenario, it's like, oh, no way. Great blink, by the way, to block off the wall along with the Zealot run by. Or Zealot warp in, I should say. He's going to try to go Broodlords now, but it's plan B Broodlords. I think Reynor's strategy is excellent when he has that really just awesome early game that Reynor's normally good at. But I do think this default game plan for ZvP is not as good when he's behind. And I think this is the flaw of being as good as Reynor. I don't think Reynor's practiced a lot of Zerg versus Protoss from behind. He might actually need to add this to his training regimen, because he's so used to dominating the early game. And this was almost like his problem against Maru and Zerg vs. Terran for a long time. He's so used to just being able to swarm and overwhelm people off of an early lead that when the opponent can withstand that, sometimes his game plans maybe aren't as super optimized, especially for playing from behind. Here we go, big surround coming in for Reynor, but the top flank gets in there first. Storm's going in on all sides. The High Templar, 1 or 2 of the High Templar get caught. But the entire Zerg army is gone. Did I just say that? I mean, I was literally just saying what I saw. Did I just see 2 High Templar and a Stalker die for like 2/3 of the Zerg army? Yeah, we did. Units lost time is better. It's 2 to 1. It is a disgusting favor for Classic right now, who he's only lost 3 High Templar this whole game. He's only made 7 High Templar this game, and yet he's landed like 16 Storms. The man has been so efficient with preserving his units. That value is just growing and growing and growing. Reynor right now, not so happy in this situation. He is outsupplied up against the wall, and carrier transition is even starting behind it. The Storms continue. The Immortals with +2 just hammering their way through. The Stalkers blink forward there. A blunk, as Tasteless called it so many years ago. A blunk is when you just grab all your Stalkers, and rather than doing a technical fancy blink, you just click your blink on top of their army, because you have that much stuff. You can blunk on their face and absolutely wipe the floor with them. Classic dominating Reynor and showing that he has some of the best PvZ in the world.